All right, let's turn back to the White House and President Trump's decision to raise tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from 25 to 50%.
We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America.
Canadian steel and aluminum producers say it will have a devastating effect.
The latest tariffs on steel and aluminum are unjustified. They're illegal. They're bad for American workers, bad for American industry, and of course for Canadian industry as well.
Factories have gone quiet, the machines are still there, but the people are gone. 100,000 jobs wiped out almost overnight. This wasn't triggered by foreign competition or advanced robotics. It started with a single policy decision, a 50% tax on aluminum. At the time, it was sold as a bold move to protect American workers, a promise to bring back strength to local industry. But what followed was shutdowns, pink slips and disappointment. As US towns struggle with layoffs, Canada is quietly reaping the benefits. Now those once loyal to the plan are questioning everything. What went wrong? And could this be a warning sign of something even bigger unfolding? Let's find out. Back in 2018, the US government introduced a 10% import tax on aluminum, claiming it would strengthen national security, cut down dependence on foreign supply, and most importantly, bring back American manufacturing jobs. The idea gained strong support at the time. The narrative was simple: protect local industries and the workers behind them. But over the years, that tax didn't stay the same. By 2025, it jumped to 25%. Then, without much warning, it doubled again to 50%. This new rate didn't just apply to strategic rivals, it also hit close allies, including Canada. The world took notice. During a speech in Pennsylvania, the president delivered a confident promise: "We will bring back aluminum jobs stronger than ever." The crowd cheered, but few knew what was coming. Aluminum isn't an ordinary material. It's a backbone for industries like construction, automotive, and aerospace. But producing it isn't easy or cheap. Aluminum smelting is one of the most energy-hungry industrial processes on the planet. To create just 1 ton, it takes enough electricity to power a household for nearly 6 months. In countries like the US, where energy costs are high, that creates a major problem. In Canada, it's a different story. With its rich supply of hydroelectric energy, aluminum plants there enjoy cheaper, more reliable electricity, and that gives them a powerful advantage. In Quebec, the industrial electricity rate sits around 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour. In many American industrial states, the same amount of power costs more than twice that. In places like Kentucky or Ohio, prices can climb even higher during peak demand. That kind of disparity makes a massive difference, so even with a 50% tariff on imported aluminum, American plants are struggling to keep up. The walls may be high, but there's little support behind them. Alcoa, one of the biggest aluminum producers in the US, made it clear, without cheaper, stable electricity, there's no chance of restarting operations. Their CEO put it bluntly: you can't restart a smelter on promises.
We would be looking for an energy policy that supports a plant like this that will be around for 20, 30, and 40 years.
The tax increase did get attention, but attention doesn't pay utility bills. American manufacturers who rely on aluminum suddenly found themselves paying more. That cost trickled down. Many were forced to scale back. Some laid off workers, and others relocated operations altogether. So instead of recovering lost jobs, the industry lost even more. Some called it a protective measure. Others started calling it something else: a job killer, because with every increase in tariffs, more workers ended up out of work. And yet the aluminum executives weren't the only ones sounding the alarm. Foreign governments were watching closely too. Canada, one of America's closest trading partners, didn't stay silent. While the US raised its walls, Canada quietly moved in another direction, and now it's gaining ground. So what's happening north of the border? The answer is both simple and revealing. Canada didn't retaliate with equally harsh measures. Instead, it doubled down on what it already had: cheap, clean energy and stable trade relationships. Aluminum plants in Quebec stayed open. Many even expanded. Orders started flowing in from Europe and Asia, markets that now saw Canada as a more dependable supplier. And as American towns dealt with layoffs and closures, Canadian facilities ramped up production. The numbers behind the layoffs in the US are staggering. Over 100,000 jobs have been lost, according to a report from Alcoa, a figure some once thought was exaggerated. But that number has proven accurate, and it might still be climbing. The breakdown is sobering. About 20,000 jobs tied directly to smelting have disappeared. Meanwhile, in Quebec, where over 90% of Canada's aluminum is produced, smelters are powered by cheap, clean hydroelectric energy. That one advantage has helped Canadian plants operate continuously while their American counterparts face steep utility bills and unstable operating conditions. And while aluminum smelters in the US struggle with production cuts and high energy costs, those in Canada are increasing output to meet rising global demand. In the first 3 months of 2025 alone, Canadian aluminum production jumped by 12%, covering the shortfall created by US policy. Before the tariff hike, Canadian aluminum made up nearly 60% of all aluminum imported by the US, but when Washington imposed the 50% tax, Canada didn't retaliate publicly. Instead, it moved on multiple fronts, appealing to the World Trade Organization, strengthening ties with the EU and Asia, and expanding clean energy subsidies to keep domestic production competitive. In border states, that shift has caused disbelief. Many once assumed that high tariffs would cripple Canada's aluminum industry, but the opposite happened. Factories in Quebec and British Columbia are onboarding engineers and technicians. Multinational companies that once sourced aluminum from the US are now turning to Canada, not out of preference, but because costs have spiraled beyond reason. A Toronto-based aerospace distributor made the point clear: at 50%, we can't keep buying aluminum from the US. The shift is accelerating, and with it, Canada's position as a clean energy manufacturing hub grows stronger. Some in Canada feel a quiet pride in this moment, not out of arrogance, but because the country stayed the course while others faltered. One operations engineer in Saguenay, Quebec, put it simply: "We thought US policy would hurt us." It turns out they're hurting themselves. There's still regret over the weakening trade relationship between two once close partners. For every American worker leaving a factory with a severance letter, there's a Canadian plant onboarding someone new. This isn't a trade war with bombs and speeches. It's a quiet shift driven by numbers and reinforced by policy decisions made far from the production lines. Many now ask whether the US has unintentionally created the very outcome it tried to prevent, ceding industrial ground to its neighbour while domestic towns fall into economic decline. And the story doesn't end here. There's an earlier chapter worth remembering. In 2002, the US tried something similar. That year, steel imports were hit with tariffs ranging from 8% to 30% under the banner of protecting national interest. Factories were promised a revival. Jobs were meant to return, but within 18 months, the policy unraveled. Over 200,000 jobs vanished, according to the Peterson Institute for International Economics. Not from steel plants, but from downstream industries like car parts, air conditioners and tools. For every job saved in steel, nearly 8 were lost elsewhere. In towns like Canton, Ohio, that shift was devastating. One factory that once employed over 1,200 workers stands empty today. Its machinery has been dismantled, the walls are rusting. The only thing left behind is a memory of what the American industrial promise used to be. The lesson was hard, but unmistakable. Tariffs alone don't fix a system that's struggling from within. Without lowering domestic production costs or supporting infrastructure, protective policies do little more than delay the inevitable. The parallels to aluminum are impossible to ignore. Again, the same playbook has been pulled off the shelf. Again, the ripple effect is being felt by entire supply chains, not just smelters. Economists are warning that if history keeps repeating, it won't stop at aluminum. Automobiles, aircraft, even food production could be next in line to feel the impact. And that's why many are now looking north, to a country that didn't shout, didn't posture, but took calculated steps to strengthen its industries while the global spotlight remained elsewhere. As American workers face mounting uncertainty, many are asking whether this path is still worth following, and if the time has come to re-evaluate before the damage becomes irreversible. What do you think about all this? Tell us in the comments.